Welcome back to the Bitcoin.com weekly update for January 5th, 2024. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a little while. It's an honor to be back. My name's Corbin Fraser, and on this week's show, we've got a whole bunch of news. First off, we've got TD Cowen predicting an SEC approval of the spot Bitcoin ETF. Michael Saylor's dumping some MicroStrategy shares to buy more BTC. Matrixport's doubting January approval of spot ETFs and forecasting a dump. A surge in spot ETF securities registrations as the deadline nears, and the SEC is meeting with a bunch of exchanges to talk about ETFs, and all the analysts are expecting imminent approval. We've also got some Flipstarter updates about an upcoming DEX on Bitcoin Cash and their cash tokens, and a whole bunch more. So let's jump in, but first, a shout out to our sponsor, Verse. Verse lets you save on fees when buying popular cryptocurrencies and earning rewards through Verse DEX farms. You can take Verse and Ethereum and USDC and USDT, and you can fund LP, stake your LP tokens into farm, and begin earning Verse yield. Verse's price is currently $0.00038 US dollars per Verse, with a market cap of $8.4 million US dollars. You can buy it now on Verse DEX, KuCoin, BitGet, as well as any major DEX aggregator, including 1inch, DeFi, Llama, you name it. Whole bunch of fun stuff going on with Verse. Go check out verse.bitcoin.com for more. Now back to the news. So the SEC approval of a spot Bitcoin ETF. Our first stop is TD Ameritrade's bold prediction that the SEC will finally approve a spot Bitcoin ETF by January 10th. This would allow direct investment in Bitcoin itself, not just Bitcoin futures contracts. So TD sees this as a political necessity. The SEC is securing its role as the sheriff of crypto before Congress can step in with broader legislation. From a libertarian perspective, or my own perspective, let's say, this kind of starts reeking of regulatory turf wars, with the SEC scrambling to avoid being sidelined. I think they kind of got the finger waved by Congress. Gary Gensler's kind of running a bit scared. They got to approve these things because there's a long list of ETFs waiting to get in. So approving any ETF may boost Bitcoin's price, but it also risks legitimizing the very institutions that Bitcoin aimed to circumvent. As a purely decentralized digital asset, Bitcoin was built to bypass centralized gatekeepers like the SEC. So now, over a decade since Bitcoin's launch, Bitcoin finds itself seeking approval from the very powers that be that it basically was created to avoid. So this irony highlights the tensions between crypto's like outsider roots and the steps towards mainstream integration. A lot of people are hyped up about it, but I think there's still some cautiously nervous people about what this means. So yeah, on one hand, you got like ETF approval could bolster the institutional investment in Bitcoin, maybe stabilizing prices, maybe pumping prices, maybe signaling wider acceptance, maybe kicking off a bull run into 2024, 2025, let's hope. But on the other hand, it grants unelected bureaucrats more authority over a digital asset that was designed to be permissionless and censorship resistant. So Bitcoin's kind of got to start deciding if it's going to be stepping into the gates of establishment, or if that's going to dull any of its rebellious edge. So next story here we're going to jump into is Michael Saylor's MicroStrategy selling off a bunch of stock to buy more Bitcoin. So yeah, in similar mixed messaging, MicroStrategy's CEO Michael Saylor, he's planning to sell 216 million US dollars of company shares to buy more Bitcoin. This doubles down on Bitcoin as both a corporate and personal investment for Saylor. So from my angle here, it's a pretty bold move, man. He's endorsing Bitcoin's promise of financial autonomy. He's literally voting with his wallet, selling off shares for Bitcoin. Saylor's signaling Bitcoin as a decentralized, permissionless asset superior to fiat currency and traditional stocks. And yeah, this does align with a lot of the traditional libertarian crypto values of that kind of started off Bitcoin and everything. So I think it is kind of an interesting play, but a lot of Bitcoin purists may see some irony in selling shares in his centralized NASDAQ listed company to acquire a decentralized cryptocurrency. It's a little bit blurry, but hey, all the power to him. So next up, we've got Matrixport is predicting an SEC rejection. So a little bearish news from Matrixport. They're expecting a price drop. So yeah, adding some complexity to this whole discussion around ETFs, Matrixport contests TD Ameritrade's optimism. They doubt the SEC will approve a spot Bitcoin ETF in January. They're forecasting a potential price drop to $36K or $38K if rejected. This conflicting analysis embodies the unpredictability and volatility of cryptocurrency. Without a centralized authority, the cryptosphere just consists of like these widely varying opinions, talking heads, predictions, and analyses. So, for libertarians or people who think a little bit more like me, this does kind of highlight the beauty of free markets unburdened by government intervention. Bring it on, bring on the talking heads. Let the best analyses win. But I think in traditional finance, decisions tend to flow from centralized regulators. So in crypto, we have Darwinian competition of ideas where the best analysis theoretically rise to the top. And you see that with things like Twitter and crypto Twitter. But Bitcoin's volatility also kind of underscores this experimental status. Without stable governance, prices fluctuate sharply based on collective imperfect predictions. Once again, this whole dream of decentralization does collide with the reality of immature markets and of fallible human decision making. But we'll see what happens with Matrixport's bet. Does kind of make me wonder personally, just thinking out loud. They were running a short, or someone running a short. But who knows? That's just alleged crypto talk. And, who knows? I'm getting a phone call. Jason, I'm doing a recording, man. Hang on. Let's hit decline. Back to the news, guys. Back to the news. We got a surge in spot Bitcoin ETF applications. You ready for this one? Here we go. As the SEC's deadline nears, we've seen a flood of spot Bitcoin ETF applications, all hopeful seeking regulatory approval. But, does this represent confidence in approval or just applicants lining up to enter the lottery? So it is kind of a somewhat comical rush to gain permission from centralized overseers that are does kind of contradict this whole crypto thing that we all got into. But for everyone else, for a lot of people, if you hold Bitcoin and you hold bags, it's hype, right? It's potential pump that might get people excited. So great. I think there's an opportunity for some people to sell their crypto to the bankers and stick it to them. But personally, man, they're not going to get it off me that easy. So, good luck to you guys. I think the surge in ETF applications does demonstrate this awkward tension. There's decentralized assets now begging for mainstream approval to drive institutional adoption. And then Bitcoin prices and future ETFs, they're already live. So you kind of got to wonder if SEC approval is more symbolic at this point. It's less about enabling investment than seeking a regulatory blessing. But let's go on to the next one here. We've got actually, you know what? We've got a sponsored section here, which we're gonna show. We're gonna show some cool stuff here, guys. This is hype. You see that? What's that? That's a scratch and win ticket. So we're gonna thank our main sponsor of the show, Verse, by demoing their latest Verse release, scratch and win tickets, which allow you to spend 3,000 Verse to potentially win up to 1 million Verse. Verse scratch and win tickets are powered by Chainlink VRF on the Polygon network. This means they're 100% verifiably random using crypto magic. It's fun, addictive, and will be added to a few more parts of the Bitcoin.com ecosystem. So picture yourself being able to swap on Verse Dex and then basically maybe even win a scratch and win. So we're trying to bring some of the gamification things that you sometimes see on the centralized exchanges, bringing that into DeFi, bringing that into swaps, bringing that into the wallet experience where it's self-custody first. So I already purchased a ticket recently here. I'm gonna show you guys. We're gonna scratch this bad boy together, see what happens. So you can see here, you can win 1 million Verse. You got to get three of the same number. I'm scratching here, guys. 100. 10K, 1,000, 50K, 5K. Oh yeah, made some money, making money. I won 10,000 Verse, spent 3,000. So what I win? 7,000 Verse. Ooh, math. Claim now would let me do an on-chain transaction on Polygon and move that back into my wallet, but we'll leave that one for the next time. So let's move on to the next and the last story here. We're going to move on to Cauldron swap. So Cauldron Dex Flipstarter campaign on Bitcoin Cash has hit 77% funded. So that's pretty cool. Let's check this thing out here. The Cauldron Dex Flipstarter campaign is entering its final week, and it needs a strong push to reach its 800 BCH goal. As of now, the campaign is 77% funded. More than 323 BCH has been pledged, but there's still around 90 BCH left to raise before the deadline in 7 days. Looks like we're at 325 now, actually. Looks like someone deposited since we wrote this. Cauldron Dex aims to be the first decentralized exchange for cash tokens built on Bitcoin Cash. If you're not aware of cash tokens, they're miner validated tokens. These are a new UTXO based token that are 100% backed by the power of Bitcoin Cash's miners. So go check that out. The Flipstarter funds would provide 4 months of developer resources to get Cauldron Dex up and running with the finish line in sight. The Cauldron team is rallying the community to help complete the fundraise and get the first cash tokens Dex out there. We want to see this thing get out there. So I'm optimistic. I pledged a bit of BCH, so I hope some of you guys will check it out. Flipstarter.cauldron.quest if you want to participate. You can find them as well on Twitter and follow them there. I think they've got just under a week, so yeah, help these guys out. And that's it for news this week. We've the past week, we saw some intensifying debates, predictions, and posturing around a lot of these SEC approvals for Bitcoin ETFs. While potentially validating Bitcoin's mainstream credentials, this rush towards regulatory oversight also jars with cryptocurrency's founding ideals of decentralization. So ironically, the institutions Bitcoin once vowed to make obsolete now hold a bunch of power over its future advancement. This highlights deeper philosophical tensions. Does crypto integrate with mainstream finance to enable adoption, or remain fiercely independent at the price of marginalization and maybe missing out on future gains? So, I think with any rebellious upstart turned establishment player, you kind of like the idealism inevitably crashes with this pragmatism, and everyone's pretty hyped up for ETFs. They're all cheering it on like it's gonna, set off the next bull market for 2024, 2025. So, personally, I got some fingers crossed for it. Perhaps these tensions are simply the growing pains of a new financial paradigm finding its footing in relation to outdated models. And if so, cryptocurrency's principles may yet survive and transform the system from within, which would be pretty cool. There are no easy answers, but the one thing is certain: the crypto revolution remains as fascinating as ever. So stay tuned as all of this stuff continues to unfold. And that's it for this week's Bitcoin.com weekly update. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell for the next video. Stay savvy, stay skeptical. Remember, in the world of crypto, the only constant is change, unpredictability, a little bit of volatility. Have a fantastic week and Happy New Year. See you guys.